Hey there, everybody. My name is Kristen Binford. I'm a wedding venue owner myself, and I serve as a business coach to venue owners all over the world. Today, I have a special guest. My friend Amber is with us here today. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself here in just a minute. And we are going to have kind of a recap to an interview that we did. Gosh, Amber, it's been a year and a half ago now that I interviewed you for the very first time. So I thought it would be fun to come in here and share with the community of venue owners what some of the past venue owners I've spoken with are up to these days. So welcome, Amber. Thank you so much for joining us. You want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your venue?
Sure. Thank you for having me. I feel super honored to be asked to talk again. So my name is Amber, and my husband, my family, and I, we live in the East Texas area, and we've started buying our venue almost 2 years ago, officially been open a little over a year and a half.
That's crazy. Now, when you first started thinking about getting into this industry, were you planning to buy a venue out of the gates, or kind of where was your head at that time?
Well, I think for us, we kind of thought like a lot of people do, we're just let's get some land, let's build a venue. This is going to be a dream. And so as we started to navigate the market in our area, what was available, we happened to come across a venue that was for sale. And we toured it, I started shadowing some wedding vendor friends and realized, hey, we can do this. And we jumped right in.
So, for someone who is listening and thinking, I'm thinking about building a venue,
Mhm.
how was the process so different about buying a venue and how quickly you were kind of in the business? I think that was one of your
Yeah,
distinctions, right?
yeah, for sure. So I would say that the idea that we could go ahead and just take over a business that was somewhat existing, they weren't actively booking because they were planning to sell. So we didn't inherit a ton of weddings, but there was a handful. So honestly, I think we did our first wedding a couple weeks after we closed. And so there wasn't that like long drawn out period of figuring out the zoning and getting all the permits, water, electricity, design, all those things, which I'm kind of happy about now that I'm running a business with my husband. I'm not sure if we could have survived that. And I
Yeah.
love being married, so I'm going to keep it that way.
I totally get that. I was talking to a prospective venue owner the other day, and I literally said, like, hey, have you talked about how this is going to impact life and marriage and all of those things? Because
Mhm.
it's real as a small business owner. It's definitely
Yeah.
real. So I think we met in March or April of
Mhm.
2019. Where were you at in the buying of the business at that time?
I want to say I think it was probably 2020, I think,
Or
because
2020. Sorry.
yeah, no, fine.
Sales.
We work in 3 years at a time. Our brains can get a little mush. Um, so at that time, we had already looked at the venue for sale. We thought it was a good idea, and we were in the writing the business plan process. And that was super fun for me because I felt like at first, I thought it was a formality, like, oh, the bank needs a business plan, like it's just something you have to do. And then I realized, wow, we really do need to think through all of these details. We need to make sure that the financials make sense and that it's actually possible to survive, and that we're just not buying another job that doesn't make money.
Yep.
That's I know for us that wasn't an option. Um, so when we met, I'd already stalked the group, watched every video in the Facebook group, done the master classes, the free ones, and I was like, well, you know what? I see what she's doing here. She made me really feel like I needed her and what she's offering. I'm a believer, but I also need to figure out how to do that for our business, how to convey value and make sure that we are able to meet our business goals. And also, I was in love with the component that you were talking about, that it wouldn't, trying to do it in a way that was strategic
Mm.
And we weren't basically, like I said, buying a job, another job.
That's so important. So for anybody who's listening in, hashtag live if you're here now, hashtag replay if you watch this later. That's such a great point, Amber, and thank you for sharing it. And I celebrate you for realizing that it would have been easy to do that, right? It looks like a fun, easy, sexy business. It's one where there's a lot of hopes and dreams and excitement going on in what we do every day with couples. But it's not easy, and it is possible to find yourself working a full-time job long term and find yourself running the venue long term. And I celebrate you for being really making a smart business decision. So you were working full time, right? At that time?
Yes, I think that's the other thing that spoke to me was I knew that you had started your venue while you were working full time and had worked full time for a couple of years. And so for me specifically, we're pretty conservative. We're not big risk takers. I couldn't walk away from my job and just like start a business and build it and hope that they would come. I needed that security of having a strategy, but also knowing that it wasn't going to be completely dependent on me because I have a wonderful career. I had a great job, an engineering degree, and lots of perks at the job I was at, but I also knew myself well enough to know that that wasn't my forever.
Mhm. Before we kind of switch gears here and future pace the story, I'm just curious, and I bet a lot of other people would be curious too. What was it like to buy a wedding venue at the very beginning of COVID?
Well, at first, it seems like a good idea. We started searching for the venue, or we looked up venue basically right around New Year's 2020. And we're making a business plan. I talked to you. I was planning to incorporate the strategies that you taught into our business plan. And it pretty much just kind of smacked us all in the face. It didn't really feel real. I'm sure it was the case for you guys with bookings existing. Um, it didn't feel like it could really happen. Like it didn't feel like the government could shut things down. So we moved full steam ahead. Everyone was thinking this is temporary, this is temporary. And I think that the moral for us was two things is that, okay, everyone that we book would know about COVID by the time they book, right? It would already be something existing. It's not news, it's a reality. And that we didn't have a bunch of weddings to move around. So it was a huge advantage because we were going to have available dates when everyone else's calendar was fully rescheduled. So that was the risky part. Well,
Amber
besides
is so
going in
tough, you
debt.
guys. Amber is so tough. I tell you what, and I celebrate you for it. It was really easy for so many venue owners and for all of you who lived through that to be in this state of fear, right? But I celebrate you now, and I celebrated you then for taking the opportunity that was at your hands, right? I mean, I have some notes here. When we spoke last time, it was July of 2020. So if any of you watched Amber's first interview, that was in July of 2020. You had just purchased the venue, I think in May. Is that right?
Yeah,
You closed on
yeah,
the
it
venue?
was right in that time period.
And at that time, you knew you were in a pretty saturated market. You kind of told that story last time we were here
Mhm.
together. And you were pretty quickly booking weddings out of the gates. And I was super proud of you, right? And you've made so much progress since then. But what we really want to talk about today is just where are you now? What is life like now? What is life as a venue owner almost 2 years into this business? What can we find to celebrate you about you today?
Oh, thank you. So what I'm celebrating at this phase in July 2020, I can't believe we did an interview because it feels so early at that point. I think we had just started getting tours, they were rolling in, and we had just gotten our first few bookings. And so we had a couple weddings under our belt, and it was feeling pretty good, but it felt like we were just at the bottom of this huge like mountain we were climbing to try and navigate COVID and really getting the business off the ground and all those things. But I know that even at that point, I was not like worried or panicked because we had a plan, right? I essentially did your course while we were buying the venue, and it was not a second too soon. I can't imagine having started actually booking weddings, signing contracts, and doing tours before taking your class. I mean, I just can't imagine what that would be like to not have that preparation in advance. So as of right now, it feels like it, I never want to like be too overconfident about it, but it feels like we really have it figured out. We have more weddings under our belt than I could have ever imagined at this phase. I mean, essentially this year we're at least double what my initial financial projections were in our business plan, just that's already booked for 2022. So the other thing that I'm celebrating is that it's not just me. I
Mhm.
am not doing every contract, every tour, 16-hour days and staying all night scrubbing the toilets type of thing. Like we have done this in a way that allows us to have a team of people who now have tons of experience and who make good decisions and love working with us and love our couples. And absolutely still work weddings, but I don't have to work every wedding. I'm home a lot of times to tuck my 3-year-old into bed. And the thing that I gave myself 3 years of working a full-time job and running the venue, but I was actually able to leave my job in October. Um, and now the venue is my full-time gig.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'm always like a little bit careful, and I think you know this about me, to make venue ownership sound easy and fun, because I think that that's just perceptually what it looks like from the outside looking in. And you and I know, and everybody here who's a venue owner now knows that there are things that are fun and great about this business, and there are things that are challenging, right? It's a real business. But what I want to shine a light on here for everybody watching today is that building a business that scales, that you get to serve amazing couples, and to Amber's point, more of them than she expected to, right? That she gets to build her business in a way that creates opportunities, not just for her, but for her team, for your community. Every wedding, this is my belief about what we do as venue owners. Every wedding that I book doesn't just serve me, it serves my couple, it serves their families, it serves 100 or 150 or 200 of their guests, it serves their vendor team, right? We're all here adding good to the world. So I celebrate the heck out of you for all of the good that you're adding to the world, Amber. And for everybody here, Amber's built an incredible business. And it's not easy. There's all sorts of stuff that you could tell stories about probably today, that it hasn't been easy, but it is possible. And that's really what I want to shine a light on. So tell me just more about your couples and why you love serving them so much, your particular couple that you attract a lot of at your venue.
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the things I love about working with you is that opportunity to refocus on those things sometimes, because it can be tough when you get stuck in the trenches of just working in your business constantly. Um, so being able to sit back, take a step back from time to time and appreciate the minor details, the ceremonies and the rituals and the groom's reactions, and just being there with the family, is it's just one of those things that just kind of fills your cup. Like it, I love that we get to meet couples. Now, granted, I'm an engineer, I'm an introvert, I am not a salesperson, but I actually am to the point where I enjoy tours. And that's a big accomplishment. I actually enjoy sitting there and getting to know them, talking to their family, joking about it, and just leaving knowing that I got to know some great humans, and we're not going to be the right fit for everybody. We're not going to book everybody that we tour, but that there's still joy in meeting them and having the opportunity to know them. And even if they learned something a little bit of a lesson from the tour, that we added value to their life, and that's what we hope. Then the other side of that is when you get reviews and feedback from your couples and even their vendors, who you love working with, it just continues to build this kind of like cushion of greatness around you. So when you continue to attract the clients that you love working with, who adore your venue, not that you had to sell and chase down to get them to book, but that they really want to get married there and they're excited about it, um, their excitement is contagious. And when they book great vendors, because you're working with people who have an adequate budget for your space, they're less stressed and they have a good experience and the vendors love you and they keep coming back and it just kind of snowballs from there. And there's no such thing as a perfect wedding day. Um, and the idea that you'll never have challenges is not real because you're dealing with a lot of people. But when you're prepared and you have good relationships with them, and sometimes the relationship isn't one of those things that you actually had to sit down and have a million meetings with them to develop. The strategies that you teach us of how to relate to our couples and how to get in front of them and make sure they see us as people all go into that. And that's how we continue to attract those great people.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm curious, now that you've left your full-time job and you're doing this full-time and you've really stepped into being the CEO of your business, how have you created time freedom in your life? And what are you looking forward to doing this year that's maybe not business related, but something fun on the it's going to happen in 2022 list?
Yeah, so I think that's what a lot of people have in mind when they think, oh, we have some property and we're going to build a venue and print money. And, we're going to have all this free time because it's just a building. They don't really need us. And that can potentially work, but it's never quite as easy as people think. Just like any luxury industry, someone is behind the scenes making it luxurious. And that's who you are.
Yeah.
You're the one who's having to create
So
the
good.
experience, not the
Yeah.
one who gets to enjoy the wedding experience so much. So, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but for me, when you are around a lot of people, again, I'm not the huge love being in crowds and love all those things. It's still work and it's still effort and there's so many enjoyable moments, but it still takes a lot of energy. And it can be very easy to get caught up in just fixing the fence and painting the door and all the little things, and you can lose sight very easily. So for me to create time freedom, um, honestly, leaving your job doesn't just magically create all this time. We're still having all of this work to do, and I'm good at creating work too. But I took the weekend off from my inbox. I didn't answer any emails this weekend. I took my kid out to a trampoline park, and we spent most of the weekend together. And there's not a lot of venue owners that can say that for sure. I know that for sure. We're still accessible to our couples, accessible to our staff and all those things, but we can do it in a way that doesn't drain us completely because you can't keep giving from an empty cup.
For sure.
And we definitely know that. Also, I blocked off my calendar this week. I'm going to jump on a plane and go on a girls trip with a couple of friends. I could have never done that before. Yes, I will do some working. I will still take some time to answer emails and whatnot. And I have someone backing me up on tours while I'm away, but I actually get to enjoy some stuff now.
That's what we're here for. I mean, to be able to serve amazing people, right? To serve amazing clients, serve your family, be present. I'm so proud of you. I hope you're really proud of you. So let me ask you this. Why was it that for everybody here, Amber is incredibly intelligent. Like, you are a super smart woman. She has so much drive, so much get after it. Why was it that the Venue Accelerator was the right fit for you?
Good question. I'll be completely honest with you. My husband and I did not see eye to eye. He was like, and even some of my vendor friends. So we're like, you don't need to pay a business coach. You don't need a course to do this. Like, build it, and then all you have to do is, and all you have to, and everyone has business advice, right? They're just like, all you have to do is post on Facebook, or all you have to do is, drop some flyers everywhere you go, and then everyone will know about you. So everyone is full of business advice. And I don't think that you have to have an MBA or anything to be a good business person, but you do have to have strategy. And when I was writing the business plan, I definitely knew, hey, there are some things, some questions we definitively need to answer, right? Um, about our strategy. And it was a huge exercise to go through that. And I knew that just from being in industry, being a problem solver, an engineer, someone who professionally solved problems, I knew that there's such a learning curve anytime you start over. Even if you've done a million weddings as a planner or a photographer, as a venue, it's a game changer. There are situations you'll run into that you wish you would have had some type of preventive measure in place.
For sure.
And the more I learned about the Venue Accelerator, it was strategic, but also tactical. It wasn't just a high level fluff. There were step by step, from building the website to having a copy of your contract to talking about what the workflow for booking clients is. And then also like answers for those problems you didn't know you were going to have. Like, there are things in my contract that I was like, oh, maybe we should do this, maybe not. And things even that you taught that I thought that probably won't be something we have to do. I do everything as the course was taught now. If you said it up front and I thought, oh, that's not a problem for us. Oh, eventually it was. And I wish I would have done it from day one, but I didn't. So lesson learned, just do everything exactly like Kristen says, and you'll be happy you did.
I am so far from perfect, you guys. Don't take Amber's words for that too strongly.
But accept the wisdom, like, don't assume that you know better. Like, you can always choose if you want to follow what you did or another venue owner did or how they go about it. But be open to the wisdom. Like, it is super naive to think that you know everything when there are people out there who've been doing this for years and have seen things and made really, really tough decisions.
I'm going to stack on something that you said the last time we talked. So it was a year and a half ago. What do you think is the primary differences between going through a process, right? It's not just a course or information, going through a process and doing the work of the Venue Accelerator, and maybe looking around in Facebook groups online and trying to hunt and peck and like find details when you don't know what you don't know, when there's that kind of gray area out there.
Yes, good question. So I definitely follow the group. I certainly can't answer every question, but try to give a piece of advice here and there when there's some questions being asked. Like I mentioned, everyone has business advice, and sometimes it can sound very good. All you have to do is ABC. Well, how do you discern who's credible and who's not? Because even in a Facebook group, well-intentioned advice could be coming from someone who hates working in their business, who's trying to get out of it, who may not be successful in a way that you want to be successful. So for some people, that's booking a lot of weddings. For some people, it's work-life balance, whatever success looks like to you. You don't know the context for their answer. And so listen, but you have to make a decision based on wisdom and your strategy, not just like random Facebook advice. Just totally honest. There's a lot of bad advice out there.
Well, and here's my perspective on it too. We can have so much empathy for our couples because it's the exact same way for our couples on wedding days. I always tell my couples, like, you don't have to listen to all of our advice, but at least it's based on hundreds and hundreds of weddings instead of like your cousin Susie, who was upset because the seating chart was done a certain way at one wedding she went to one time, so.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So,
And
oh, please go ahead.
our couples are getting a big influx of um, advice from like TikTok and Pinterest and stuff like that. And so having, especially being new, having some insight on the long game versus, oh, that's a great idea. Yes, let's do confetti. That's wonderful. Those pictures are so cool. I saw it on TikTok. You have a little bit of context for it so that you know what it would look like if you have to live with the decisions that you're condoning today, but you don't have to actually experience them until next year.
And then you said yes so many times, and then you have pictures
Yes.
of it. And then, yeah, I think that's one of the
Yes.
most challenging things about this business for sure is
Yeah.
when you're making commitments, but you don't have to live with those commitments for 9, 12,
Exactly.
18, 24 months. But then you realize, oh, wish I wouldn't have, right? So, so
No,
one thing
no.
I hear time and time again, Amber, and there's probably somebody listening right now who's this way. I bet there's a lot of people listening this right now who are this way. We talk to people all the time, and when they hop on our calendar, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited! I've been following you for a year. I've been watching all of your
Mhm.
stuff. I watch all of your interviews." I'm like, "Cool. What took you so long to get off the fence and have a conversation with us?" I don't think we're scary people. So, what would you say to maybe somebody or lots of somebody sitting on the fence who haven't reached out to my team and I?
Yes, good question. I like the fence. It's a safe place
Mm,
because you don't know what you don't know, so you don't have to acknowledge that, hey, maybe there are some things out there that we could do better. And, accepting or working with a coach doesn't mean that you are admitting some type of failure or that you're not doing it right or anything like that. Um, with an industry that is so full of trends and so full of people who are targeting you to try and make money off of you with their marketing software or just whatever it is. Um, I get that it can be challenging to know what the right way to go is. for for me, like I said, my husband and I weren't really both on the same page on whether we actually needed this program or not. But being in the group now with so many people who are either first starting off or have been doing this for years and are just looking for ways to get their life back, it opens your eyes in a neutral, loving, encouraging way to look at your business differently and to figure out how to get what you want out of your business, to still be able to maybe serve couples wholeheartedly and be super involved without having to work. As I've heard another venue owner say who closed down her venue, she was like, I was working 9 days a week. Like, I just can't do it anymore. And so this is not a way to get out of working in your business, but it can teach you how to set your business up to get what you want out of it while also still serving your couples really well.
And that's not selfish, right? Because when you match and marry what you're really good at, what your gifts and talents are at, and you can spend
Mhm.
more of your time doing that, that serves your clients better. That serves you
Yes.
better. That makes you happier in your business. I talk to so many people in this business who are so optimistic and working hard and hustling hard and telling themselves they're really happy with where they're at. But when you see someone cross a threshold and truly be able to spend their time on the stuff that brings them the most time and joy and freedom, it's just it's it's why I do what I do. So I love it.
Yes, we really appreciate that because some of it is like those detailed steps, tactical, how to do things, how to build your website, how to identify your ideal clients, all those things that really do matter. But what is interesting about this program is with the group coaching, with whether it's the Facebook group or the calls themselves, you get a chance to bring some things to the table and learn how to look at them in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming and
Mm.
kind of soul crushing. And if you've had cancellations and dealt with a really bad wedding, that's not an understatement. Some things can feel very, very heavy, but being around a group of people who have great hearts and hearts of service and can just help you navigate things and move on can be super helpful to keep you out of those funks that come after bad experiences.
If you had it to do all over again, would you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no doubt.
So you've got an audience of venue owners and probably some prospective venue owners watching today too. Is there anything just that you would want to share that you've got this captive audience?
Oh, you know, we get a lot of nearby venues that kind of ask us questions on how we do things. And I feel like it's not really my intellectual property to share because a lot of things we built on our own, but a lot of things we learned through you. So I guess what I would share for prospective venue owners, if you haven't actually gotten into the nuts and bolts, like you're just in that I'm dreaming of a venue type of thing, I would say it is so important to know your market and know your client. And before you start looking at land or anything like that, I would I would just say some quick words of advice are get in all of your local Facebook groups, get in the venue groups, see what challenges are out there and what needs are out there because you have an easy ability to see the inside scoop. So when someone posts in a local venue group and they're asking for a venue and there's 174 replies, you may be looking at it differently than when you Googled and felt like you only found 5 venues in your market. So you have an opportunity to keep researching. So if you're stuck on the fence and you're a prospective venue owner, keep researching before you start buying land and stuff like that. And for people that are just in the business and have a million questions, there's a community out there that can help. So whether you want to take all the advice or you just want to be part of the community, I think there's just tons of value to utilize some of the strategy to develop the business in a way that helps you get the enjoyment you actually want out of it.
Love it. Isn't Amber amazing, you guys? Just hashtag Amber rocks in the comments. I think she would totally take that today. So much fun. Well, thank you, Amber, so much. You're always one of my just favorite people to talk to. Like I said, she is sharp as they come and heart of gold. And like so many venue owners, I think a lot of people who get into this business are smart people and really want to do this the right way. That absolutely shines through for everybody that I've worked with. And, if you're a business person, but you've not been in this business before, it's a different animal, right? It's a different thing. So I celebrate all of the gifts and talents that everybody watching brings into this community and into venue ownership. So awesome, Amber. All right, friends. Well, if you have been sitting on the fence and you are ready to book a call and talk to our team, KristenBinford.com/accelerator is how you do that. Those calls are about an hour. We're going to dive deep. I remember I spoke with Amber. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's my team who you'll speak with, but we're going to dive deep, figure out where you're at in the business, what you really want, and what's getting in your way. If we can help you, we'll let you know what that looks like. If we think something else is better, guys, we'll be totally honest about that. Yeah. Either way, my challenge for you is to hop off the fence because 2022, I think, is the year of opportunity. That's how I'm feeling. And I'm also choosing to just have more fun this year. That's one of my goals in my personal life. So we look forward to connecting and serving you if now is the right time. So KristenBinford.com/accelerator. So round of applause, everybody, for Amber. Thank you so much. Hashtag live if you are watching this the first time, hashtag replay if you catch it later. Amber, thank you again so much. Congratulations on huge success. We're probably going to do this again in a year and a half. I can't even imagine what life will be like.
I know. So true.
All right, everybody. We will see you next time.